Hello, and welcome back to the Friday Feels episode of the UF podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana, but it is especially good to be here with our two special guests. They are the co-hosts of the Dateable podcast. They are the co-authors of the How to Be Dateable book, which is out. It's out right now, and you can go buy it in the link. I'm sure the link is in the bio of this episode on wherever you're watching or listening. Thank you guys for coming on. We are joined by Julie Krafchick and Yue Zhu. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. Good to see you both. It's been years.
It's been years. We've both been on your shows. You guys have been here. It's great to see you guys again. It is how are you? What's going on? And Julie, congratulations. You were just recently married last weekend.
Thank you. And Yue was my officiant for the wedding.
That I got to ask about. How was being an officiant? Yue, it is a different role than bridesmaid or best man. I've been kind of asked to do these things, and I am always a no.
Why? Yue was a yes.
Yue, I would never. I think it's different. I think you being podcast co-hosts, that
For a dating show.
A dating show. Yes. That makes sense. It's like this ending to a chapter of a story for you two as a relationship. It's actually beautiful.
Jared, would you not officiate my wedding?
I was going to ask that.
Yeah. Why would you be a no?
Well, here's the difference. Me,
a
comedian officiating, it's like, oh, here comes Mr. Narcissist making it
too much
all
pressure
about him. I would be a hater. I just think of how I would hate on me doing the thing. I would look at you. That would be my Yue. That would be my honest opinion. I'd be like, this is the sweetest thing. This makes the most sense. But if it was me, I'd be like, this blowhard, up his ass, comic idiot is trying to get laid at his friend Jordana's wedding.
Is that what everyone was saying to you about officiating?
That is exactly how I felt.
You got it.
Yeah. Everyone was like, oh my gosh.
Killed it though. Yeah.
It was actually
it is a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. It was a huge honor though. It was so fun because I sent both of them questionnaires beforehand, and I asked them different questions, and I asked them not to share the questions or the answers with each other. So it was kind of a nice surprise for both of them to hear what was asked and what they answered. And obviously we talked a little bit about the podcast, but not really. It was not about the podcast. It was really about their graduation. I really felt like this was a graduation from everything we've been discussing for 10 years. So it was such an honor, and it was just the most beautiful ceremony. I couldn't have asked for a better role in Julie's wedding.
What were the questions that you asked them both? I think there's definitely, I'm interested. I want to know. I don't need to hear the answers, but I want to hear how many questions.
What was the hardest one?
What were they? And what were the hardest ones?
Well, Julie had
there was one I didn't answer. There was one I just left blank. And it was my partner did answer it, but his was if your relationship was a song, what would it be called? And he did answer. And then for me, it was if your relationship was a movie, what would it be called? And I had no idea. So I just left that.
You didn't have an answer.
I didn't have an answer for that. I don't know. You know when people ask you your favorite movie and you just go blank? Because it's so much pressure. But you asked some other really good questions, just the moment we knew it was the real deal, and quirks that we have of each other that, you now find endearing. So really cute stuff.
So you sent these to them separately, Yue, and then you were you read them during your performance, so to speak. You go up and you say, I asked this question and here are the answers from both. Is that how it was done?
No. Yeah. In my one woman show, it was more of a woven story. I mean, it had a flow to it, and it wasn't he said and then she said. It was just more of a story of how they came together and why they make so much sense, and kind of the funny things they would say about each other and what makes it really personal for both of them. So yeah, there was more of There was an arc. I can send you a script if you ever need it. Like I have an outline for you, Jared.
I am very interested because it does sound more fun and personal than rabbi or priest or justice of the peace you met with a couple times. Like you have this
personal relationship.
Personal relationship. And like as a podcast co-host, you've watched each other. You know, you've had these zoned in conversations and about dating. Your show is about dating.
And Julie, how long were you dating?
So
before you got married?
How long was I dating my partner or just in general?
No, well, I'll get to that. That'll be the follow-up.
Forever.
Yeah. So we were dating 4 years. So I think we met over the pandemic and people really saw like the shift happen because we'll get into it. My earlier dating life wasn't always so smooth sailing.
Right. So you guys have been doing this podcast together for how long?
10 years.
Or 10 years. Wow, that's huge. So how do you think Julie has changed in her like dating mindset? I mean, you've been hosting this. I assume you talk about personal dating lives every week when you're doing this show. What do you think she's like improved on? Like, what got her there? People at home want to know, how do they get this? What do you think is her biggest shift that got her to where she is?
I think the major shift for Julie were two things. There were two milestones I see. One was COVID, because she was forced to be alone. And I think that's when Julie realized, if I need to be alone for the rest of my life, this is pretty good. Like my life is pretty good. So if someone comes into my life now, it's going to be an value add. It's going to just make my life better. But if they don't, then I'm okay being alone. So I think that was the first major shift. And the second major shift was we had a medium on our show, Nikki Novo. And before she came on our show, she gave both of us readings. And she told Julie, your person's right around the corner, but you're going to face rejection beforehand. You're going to face people that are not right for you. So just keep going because your person's right around the corner. And then with that in mind, I felt Julie just lighten up, like, just like let go. Because now if someone wasn't living up to her standards or wasn't returning her texts or wasn't as communicative as she wanted them to be, she can just say bye instead of trying to make it work or wait around for someone. She was like, you're not my person because my person's right around the corner and you're not it.
Right. I love hearing that because it contains within it the hardest advice to give and to take. And it's like the one you can't really tell a friend, but it's what they need to do the most. And it's like, lighten up. Like it is like that phrase is so annoying to hear from someone. But we know so many people in this dating thing, and I'm guilty of this too, of like, okay, let it go, lighten up, stop being such a negative Nancy, it's so hard.
Yeah. And also like the energy, I think we talk about this a lot, like the energy that you're bringing to a date. Like if you're bringing that kind of like desperate, like, I don't think I'll ever eat again, so I need to like soak it all up feeling, I think that feeds into itself. And kind of what you're saying is like, if I feel confident that there's someone out there for me and I'm going to, find love, then I don't need to like stay focused on something that's not that great because I know something better is like around the corner, as you've said.
I mean, your listeners could probably relate to this, but I was such a type A dater, like as it is in other parts of life, and I want to control everything. And I had to realize like you can't control it. You can only control like how you show up. And, we, in our book, actually, we have a dating archetype quiz and people can just go to our website and take it even without the book. And this was something that UA and I learned from talking to like thousands of daters over the last 10 years that people just operate so differently. And there's things that we all do that are strengths and things that we all do that are getting in our way. And for me, the two that I, resonated the most with were the achiever, which has served me really well in, professional life and just like knowing what I want and always getting to the next milestone and taking control of situations. But in dating, it didn't make me stay present as much. And then with the other one that I really resonated with is what we call the dreamer, the person that gets ahead of themselves, that lives in the fantasy, that has so much love to give to the right people. But when you give it to the wrong people, you end up staying in the wrong situations. And I was the queen of situationships for years because I saw that great first date and didn't see like all the subsequent behavior when people weren't showing up or following up or outright telling me they didn't want a relationship. Instead of saying goodbye, I stayed. And that was like a huge shift for me, was recognizing those patterns and being able to, exit quicker to the wrong people.
Did you make a specific change with, lighten up is like the vague version of that change. That's the annoying advice that like the worst person at brunch, gives you. But did you with your current, your now husband, did you have a moment where you're like, that you look back on that you're like, I did it? Like, like the win where you're like, I'm not texting back this time. Was there a moment with your current that you're like, the vibe shift was done? Like, do you have a memory of that?
So it wasn't necessarily with my current, although I did tell him like really early on just needs I had. Like I was like, look, the one thing that gets me is when I don't get that text back. Like I will get anxious, I will freak out. And this was like before he ever even like did anything. And the difference I knew with him was he is like, thank you for telling me. I want to make you happy. And if I see a text, like I'll do what's in my power to respond quicker, if that's a thing. And I think the shift though that you're saying, Jared, is before him, I feel like I just had like a different air to me. Like in the past, every rejection would just go to my self-esteem. I took dating so personally for years. Like I thought there was a flaw with me if things didn't progress. And what Yue was saying with like the medium being like, it's out there, just keep going. I had a very different mentality. And there was this guy right before my now husband that, it was like one of those instant, we really connected. It was over COVID, so it was a little weird. Like we were doing a lot of virtual stuff. I was in Boston. He was still at SF. It was so built up though. He's like, I'm coming to get you at the airport, like this whole thing. Of course, like the day I'm flying back, can't hear from this guy. He just like fades completely. And then all of a sudden he's just too busy. He can't meet up at all. And I'm like, what happened? The old me would have been like, well, work's just busy. I'll just wait. I'll see how he goes. And the new me was like, look, I want someone that prioritizes me. And if someone can't make an hour to meet up, like, good, I'm moving on. And that's okay.
Did you fly there to see him?
Oh, no, I was in Boston with my parents and I flew back to SF just to be home. So it wasn't like going out of my way to be with him, but it was just the shift changed as soon as it became real that we were both back in the same place.
Of course.
And I think the old me would have held on for a lot longer. And the new me was able to just like nicely say like, hey, if you're not like able to make the time that I need right now, like all good, but just so you know, I'm going to like move on.
So you broke up with him, which is what we
I mean, I ended it, I guess. Yeah. I don't know if we were really dating ever, but you know what I mean?
Yue, what's the best part of the wedding? I kind of want to hear more about. I love a wedding.
Back to the wedding.
I love a wedding dish. Yeah, I love hearing food, dancing. What are we talking here? What kind
Where was the wedding?
Yeah.
Do you all kind of feel like Jared secretly wants to go to a wedding? I feel like you're like itching to go to a wedding.
I wish I like had the wedding a week later so I could have you at the wedding.
Invited.
Fly right out.
You could co-officiate.
You go on the honeymoon.
So it's in Sebastopol, which is in Sonoma County. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
I love
Beautiful.
A wine county, not Napa wedding.
Right. That's where it's at, not Napa.
Yeah,
Sonoma is the underrated chill part.
My good friend, he had his wedding in the other area. The people who don't have their wedding in Napa love telling you that it's not Napa. That it's like a big favorite of theirs.
It's the best spot.
It's like
there's
earthy,
so many
crunchy,
great
but
spots.
It's also got the wine stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not booked out.
And the food was great. The dancing.
The dancing was great, but my favorite part was meeting Julie's family. I had met a lot of them before.
You've never met them.
10 years? You've never met?
She's met my aunts and uncles, ironically,
yes.
but not my parents, which is weird.
Yes. But they all felt like they knew me because they had, heard my voice for so long. And I felt like I known them because I'd heard about them through Julie. So it was like, I really got along with Julie's parents. And also she has an uncle that I love dearly. Like I want to stay in contact with. Cousins, I walked away. I talked to more of Julie's family than our own friends at her wedding. I felt like I was part of the family.
Jared, everyone loved the Boston fam. I'm
sure.
They loved the Boston accent. Yeah.
Yeah. They came on a flight wearing, all Red Sox, Patriots, and Celtics gear. You ever see a flight from Boston? It looks like it's a pep rally. It's crazy.
And you're in a relationship too, right?
I am. Yeah.
Yes. And how long have you guys been together?
It's been 2 years, just about.
Okay. And how do they feel about you podcasting? How do both of your partners feel about you podcasting? Is that like a thing? Do they not want to be talked about? Do they like being talked about? How does that work for you guys?
It's been such a good filter for us because if someone's like, oh no, I don't like that, then you go, all right, thanks, bye. Because it's such a big part of our lives. And I think my partner and Julie's partner really embraces what we do. Like my partner, I've known him for actually 6 or 7 years now. So he's been in my life for a long time. And he's known that I've been doing this and he's been cheering me on from the sidelines. And when I became single 2 years ago, he was like, I want to cheer for you, but like with you. I want to be, that main cheerleader in your life because I think what you're doing is incredible. So he actually was attracted to me because of the podcast and because of the work that I do.
Right. And so you said you knew each other for 6 years. How did that were you friends? Was there a tension? Like how did this come about?
If you asked him, there was always tension. If you asked me, I did not see it at all. I was like, this is just a professional contact that I had. So how we met is I interviewed for a job where he was on the interview panel. So I did not get the job, but we kept in touch because he's like, I think
you got the better job.
You didn't get the job and he still got to date you?
Yeah, he's like, you will get a job in 6 years with me. So he basically was like, let's keep in touch because I know a lot of people in the industry I can introduce you to. So we did the whole, hey, what's up on LinkedIn once a year. And then we would like get coffee. Then when I moved to LA, because he lives in LA and I was in San Francisco this whole time. When I moved to LA, it turned out that I moved a mile away from him. I mean, just what are the chances of how big LA is? And I happened to be right in his neighborhood and half a mile from his office.
What are the chances that he looked up your information on LinkedIn and just happened to be within a mile? And,
he's like, I just moved.
Interview with me. Oh, okay.
So weird. We live in the same building.
Right? Oh, yeah, this is crazy. Yeah.
It's like that tension that we've been building for 6 years. Let's do something about it.
Yeah.
So let's move in. Yeah. No, he actually had lived here. If anything, I must have telepathically stalked him because he had lived there for almost 10 years. So it just so happened that we lived in the same neighborhood and we reconnected. And when I became single, he and I started hanging out some more and more as friends. But it was really just one night of doing Molly that really sealed the deal.
That'll
very do it. LA. Love it. Yeah, that changes your perspective. I think that's part of his long game. She'll see me in a different light.
And what type of dater are you on this? You have these archetypes, and again, people can go to your website and take the archetype quiz, and I think that is very helpful because you kind of learn about who you are as a dater. It screams back at you what you've always kind of known, probably. What are what's your type of dating? Like what was your issue?
Yeah. Maverick through and through. This is just a person who is very independent, who values their independence and their space. They're very good at giving their partner their space as well. And they're very good at living life the way that they want to live their lives. But what was getting in my way, and for most mavericks, is we don't let people in that easily. I mean, like, I feel like sometimes people need to earn that right, and most people never earn that right. And when I feel like my independence is threatened or I'm feeling too vulnerable, I push people away or I run away. So for years, I would try to be the first one to end a thing because I want to be in control. I wanted to be the one to say, this is not working for me. I'm out. But I wouldn't give the relationship the chance to really go deeper because that meant I had to get deeper and I had to reveal more sides of myself. So I've learned quite a bit in 10 years of doing this podcast of running towards people instead of running away from them.
That's so interesting to give it a different name because, like, I think that maverick, archetype, and Jordana and I talk a lot about this myth, or not a myth, but like what gets talked about is that, men are intimidated by strong personalities from women and go-getter women and that type of thing. And it's like, it's not all one thing. It never is. It's never all men are intimidated. I'm sure there are and that exists, but like you described this maverick character and I could understand how someone would go, well, everyone's intimidated by me. It's like, well, maybe,
what's
it's
your
a
part
little,
in it?
Yeah, maybe that's the part,
Yeah, we use a lot of that as an excuse for not wanting to be vulnerable or not willing to be. I think for years I didn't have the capacity to be vulnerable because I didn't want to get the real me reflected back. So I just hid underneath this shell, armor, if you want to call it, and just started pushing people away. But it took being in this relationship, actually, no, two things. It took being in my last relationship, which ended in infidelity after 5 years, that took me out of my armor and said, I need to stop fighting with people who are good for me and then letting in people who are terrible for me. Because the people who I was letting in were the ones who weren't trying to get deep with me. So then I felt safe in some ways, right? They're not trying to get to know me, so it's fine. But then I was pushing away the people who were like, who are you really? Who are you truly? What are you trying to do in this world? Like, tell me. And I would so easily be like, go away. You're not the person for me. And I let in someone who was not willing and not wanting to get to know the deeper sides of me. So after that relationship ended and now being with my current partner who calls me out all the time in the most loving way of saying, okay, the maverick is coming out. What do we want to do about it? Do we want to have a discussion?
Zen.
Right? Yeah. And sometimes I have to be like, I need to take a 20-minute walk. I need to take the maverick out for a walk and I come back and then we have a nice discussion.
I like the terminology. Got to bring this maverick out for a walk. It sounds very boy. I like.
Yeah,
I feel like Yue and her partner really embrace these archetypes because he's the thinker. So you're like, okay, the thinker is getting in his head right now, maybe overanalyzing. I need to reassure. But I would say, as someone that's watched Yue's journey, it's just been incredible. And like I said this, I mean, I love her partner, but I said to her like the other day, like what I love so much too about their relationship is that she is the best side of herself, and that comes out. And I feel like I didn't necessarily always see you as your true self in other relationships. And in this one, you are, and that was like a non-negotiable for you.
I have a personal question based on something you just said. Yue, you were based on the timelines you just gave, you were in a 5-year relationship that ended with infidelity, and you've been doing the podcast for 10 years. I don't, you can share as much as you want to share or whatever. I'm not going to push, but how do you, it's got to be so hard to have any sort of infidelity and then be on a dating podcast. You were started as a dating coach and a vlogger. Like you've been in the dating world a long time. Like I feel a lot of that pressure. Like when I go on a date, I do represent the podcast and I, have to like back up my words. And, I remember I got posted on, I've mentioned this before. I brought it up before, but I was posted on like a Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group. And in my mind, like it became, and it was like this fake story of like that. I honestly, I don't think I went on a date with him. It was just like a pretty vague telling of like, Jared took me on a low effort date, and they brought up a bunch of stuff that anyone could have known about me online. So like, I don't even know who the person was or what it was. But I did have those feelings swirling around in me of like, oh my God, just all the things of like your career mixing with your personal life, and there's nothing you can do. Like people cheat, anyone can be lied to. So I don't know, how did you get through that, and what about, how hard was that?
I think all four of us can understand that anything that we do in life and any actions we take and decisions that we make can affect our personal brand. And of course, is going to cross our mind. Like Jordana, when you got married, Julie, you getting married this weekend obviously affects your personal brand as well, right? And you have this existential crisis in some ways. And for me, when I went through that breakup due to infidelity, we were in the middle of writing this book too. Can you imagine writing a book called How to Be Dateable and finding out your boyfriend of 5 years has been cheating on you? Right. It's not a great feeling, right? It's a crazy.
No, I can't imagine writing a book. Listen, I'm in that process now. It's horrific writing a book. The amount of self-reflection you have to do,
yes,
especially when you're like
it's a dating book,
yeah, you're being asked to tell stories, and then I can't imagine what that was like to go through.
In hindsight, the best thing to have happened to me and also to our book, I think, from my point of view, from what I was able to contribute, because it's not about what happens to us in life, because that is out of our control. People will cheat. People will do whatever they want to do. I can't control that. What is in my control are my values and what I act on. What is something that I'm taking action on? And so in the book, I actually reflect on this breakup and talk about how, things are going to happen. Shitty things will happen. And shitty people are out there. But what I will stand so strongly in myself and in my beliefs is I'm going to rise above all of this. I'm going to transcend this. And in fact, I'm going to tell this story and lean into it so hard that everyone's going to know what happened. And I'm not trying to hide it. So what do we do as a result of it, and which I think is a great way of flipping the script, is we had the other woman on our podcast. We interviewed her because she did not know about me when this was going on. Exactly. It's an episode called amazing. The Other Woman.
What episode number?
Will send it to you. It's good. Yes. Yeah, it's called The Other Woman.
The best plug in the history of plugs right now.
Wow. What a get.
Like, it was so
how did you find her?
It's nuts because I feel like getting a little woo-woo here, but the universe guided me through all of this. And I remember just sitting there one day and a voice inside my head was like, you know what? You don't know her side of the story. You don't. You can make her into the villain if you want to, or you can choose to get to know her and find out what happened on her end. So there were multiple women, but I found one. I found one in particular because there were text messages.
Did she co-officiate the wedding with you? Or you guys best friends?
Yes.
And now,
yes, yeah. She's now my partner of the last 2 years. Believe it or not, just kidding. That would be wild.
This turns into a
whole circle.
I found her number through the text exchanges. I just put it into Google, and her name popped up. And then I found her on Instagram. She has a public account. I DM'd her just his name. And she right away was like, let's get on a call. So we talked for 2 hours that night when I found her and just released everything. I mean, I went on my side of the story. She told me her side of the story. She did not know about me. And he had all these lies about why he was, anyway. Later, he had revealed that he was living with his girlfriend, but he had all these lies about why he was still with me. And she did not stay with him after he revealed that. But for however long that they were engaging in whatever, they were going on dates in LA, okay? Under my nose in LA. She didn't know about me. So she was like, I'm willing to tell my side of the story. Yeah, we were living together. We were actually in the middle of trying for a baby and planning like a ceremony by the end of the year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And did she didn't know about you, but were you like, what did he say? I live with a roommate? Like, how do you, like, how does...
She never went over?
No. It was very much like, let's go out in public, let's hang out, and let's. Because they were like in the early dating vacation. Phase. They met on vacation in Miami, but they both live in LA.
Horrific thing to happen to you. Completely awful. I will say, silver lining, as a dating podcast host and writer, the content you got from this must have been
gold.
Incredible. Like you
really
made a lot of money, I'm sure, on what these infractions.
But that's so crazy.
The least he could do.
Horrific thing to go through. But
that's even makes him more crazy. Like,
exactly.
I guess as like if you go inside the mind of a murderer, you go, how do you deal with having dated him and he's that much of a careless cheater? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm like if I'm going to be a cheater, I'm going to not be with a dating podcast co-host. Like, that's out of like, it's like out of a movie, you know, like you'd be like, that doesn't happen.
I feel like I even was trying to analyze him for a really long time. And then you have to kind of realize like you can't analyze these people. Like, cause you're never going to do these behaviors. And I think this actually ties to dating. I mean, you probably see this all the time. We get so many messages of how dating is the worst. Men are the worst. People are the worst. And the reality is like, look, you can only control yourself at the end of the day. And, you know, learn what your values are, what you'll stand for. And when you find out information, you act on it. And until then, you're going in with the best intent. And that's how you actually weed through people. And ultimately, like, you know, not everyone's going to be great. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people really, really suck. But there's a lot of really good people out there too. And let's focus our attention there.
Totally. I think that speaks to so many emails we get where people have this huge fear of like wasting their time. They need to know everything. They feel like they need to know everything about someone. People write in so angry that someone has, you know, they said he was looking for a relationship on the apps, or he said he was looking for something casual. What does that mean? It's like, there's a certain level of self-trust that you have to have. That's like, I will be able to move on if this date doesn't work out, if this person isn't the person I thought I was. And it's just trusting your own instincts and your gut and your own like picker. And I think that gets refined over time. I think most people don't start off immediately knowing how to choose the best people. And that's what we always say about our show, is that we kind of try to teach you how to be a better buyer. We're not going to tell you every person that you date is going to be a perfect gentleman.
Right.
Yeah, but also be less of a target for the douchebags, right? You can attract less of those people, filter them out, or even
and put up with less.
Them.
Yeah.
Listen, this has been great. Yue and Julie, we want everyone to go buy the book. You got to go buy the book, How to Be Dateable. Also, go check out the Dateable podcast. We're big fans over here. We want to do an Icky or Picky with you guys. Are you down for that?
Of course.
Down.
We play a game here on the show, Icky or Picky. People write in with a dating ick that they got from someone, and we kind of tell them whether we agree with them or if they're being a little picky, because that's the hard part. Again, lighten up is probably like what this could be called as well, because most ickies that are told we're, are pickies is just someone that's being a little too hard on someone. So are you guys ready to do an Icky or Picky?
Sounds amazing.
Awesome.
Okay. I'll read the email.
Go for it.
Hi, J&J. I went on a first date the other day and I need some help. I've been talking to this guy on Bumble for a week or two, and we finally set up a first date. He picked a pretty fancy restaurant that I've been wanting to try, and I was really looking forward to it. He messaged me saying he was excited to take me somewhere so nice. And since he had previously complimented my fashion sense from my pictures, he told me he was excited to see me all dressed up in person. I took this as a cue to show off a little. I put together a super cute and fun outfit and was really feeling myself. He showed up wearing tattered sneakers, old jeans, and an Eagles t-shirt. He looked super underdressed compared to me and the rest of the restaurant. I felt a bit embarrassed. He didn't acknowledge it at all, so I didn't either. I wouldn't mind him dressing like that if we were going somewhere casual like a bar or a brewery, but he specifically mentioned wanting to take me out somewhere nice and mentioned me dressing up. Why would he then show up looking like that? So icky or picky, he dresses down at a fancy restaurant. Thanks, overdressed and unimpressed.
So, Julie and Yue, what do you guys think of this predicament? Icky or picky? Do you have any thoughts on the email? Would love to hear what you guys think.
Ooh.
I'm
mean,
picky. I think it's picky. It's picky.
Picky.
And
It's picky.
Yes. I think
She's
it's picky.
being picky.
She's being picky because what I've noticed is people's fashion sense subjective. And to him, that may have been dressed up, or he may have put some thought into his outfit, or he thought, I just don't want to outshine her. I want her to be the star of this show. So I'm going to dress down a little bit. What this shows is that there needs to be a conversation. I think she could have easily asked him, like, is this how you normally dress when you go to a nice restaurant? I'm just curious. Or like, how do you dress up for special occasions? Because everybody has a different fashion sense and a different idea of what nice is. And for the last couple of years, we've been preaching like quiet luxury. You know, billionaires always dress like they're homeless. So maybe that's like what he's going for. He's going for
Very
that.
San Francisco of you.
It
That's the San Francisco way.
Maybe that's where our bias comes in too.
Right.
You know,
this is a San Francisco tuxedo. Eagles t-shirt.
Like, this is fancy now. It's interesting because I feel like logically, whenever people complain about clothing, I'm always like, oh, you're being too picky. But there was something about that gave me an icky feeling. And I don't know why that is. I think it's more that it was built up that and again, I don't know how much of this was her interpretation versus what he was saying, but it was like built up that she should be dressing nicer. They were going to this really nice place. Like, I think if they were just going to an average spot and that wasn't said, then who cares what they're wearing? But there's something about like the buildup for me. And then he just shows up. Like, did he come from somewhere? What was going on? I think I'd want to know more.
I agree. I totally agree with you. If they just made a date at a fancy restaurant and he showed up, maybe this is like his vibe. He's not like a dress up guy. But I think the fact that he said, like, can't wait to see you all dressed up. It's a little like, I don't know. It feels like almost like a sexual, or like he's trying to like prop her up to be like, you know what I mean? And also, other thing that would be an icky about this date is like, I don't want to go to a really nice restaurant and dress up. I've never even met you.
Yeah.
So I think that like first date, I would keep it casual, drinks, whatever. Like, I feel like the fact that he's talking about her fashion sense and that he's gonna like, it's like an over posturing to me, which I would be turned off by.
It's so funny. I'm with, it's funny. Like, we're all kind of like like a lot of it has to do with like the setup. Like like I felt like there was so many more icks that preceded what she's icked about. Like, yeah, like the idea of, I'm just trying to think of how creepy I would feel like I sounded if I was like, hey, I can't wait to see you all dressed up and
it's creepy,
tonight.
Right?
Yeah, like
it's like sexual. It feels like overly sexual.
Yeah, or like you put in the work and then I'm going to show up casual. Like, that seems weird. Yeah,
just him rubbing his hand. I can't wait to see what you come up with, and that kind of feels like fifth date thing. Like, this feels like it's too much too soon. Like, where I'm not icked out by like, you know, like if someone was underdressed, I don't know. I'm okay with her ickiness. I guess I think it should have been earlier. Like, I think like, but here's where I'll give him some empathy. If her profile is like a dressed up thing, like I'm just trying to think of like other
fashion
angles.
Girly.
Like fashion girly, like bright and it's mentioned like, hey, I love your fashion. Your pictures. I could see it would be less creepy on the dating app. I could see myself. Like, I was like wondering what I would write to someone. What scenario would get me to say, I'm really excited to see what you are dressed up in next. How would that not be creepy to me? And the only option is that she's like somewhat fanciful in her profile and she has a very specific viewpoint for her fashion, and it gets mentioned, hey, your pictures are great. I love your fashion, which again, low probability for the men that we hear about on this show to be writing that, but I can see how like, I just love your style.
Yeah.
Could be a message that a guy would send. I love your style. That would be actually normal and not creepy to me.
Right.
And then the conversation leads into a date. Hey, I got this great place. It's a little nicer. Would love to like take you there. Oh, I've been wanting to go there. Great date. We got it set. Can't wait to see how your style looks in person.
But he didn't say how your style looks. He said, can't wait to see you all dressed up.
If it had the precedent, but she didn't write that. So I don't want to go based on what she didn't write, but I'm trying to find a way to this not being the weirdest thing I feel weird saying out loud. Can't wait to see you all dressed up, all cleaned up for a big date. And then he shows up in like his like grossy sweatpants. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
But maybe that was dressed up for him. You know, you never know. Maybe that's like the nicest outfit he owns.
I think it's okay to be unattracted to someone's style and go that we are two different versions. Like, I could see how that could be someone's.
And if she was a fashion girl, wouldn't you bring your A game?
That's
Right,
what I was
it's
going to
not
say.
mentioned.
Like, if you're not
Yeah.
if you're not into fashion, I feel like having the expectation that other people are is kind of weird. Like,
Yeah,
you would just
Right.
be cool with whatever.
Noticing
I
it
agree.
and then not bringing it is weird. It just doesn't make sense. Like, noticing someone's fashion and then being dressed down, it feels like it doesn't go together.
Right. It also feels like, oh, you're here to entertain me. Like, I'm here to watch you.
Right.
Doesn't matter what that's why it feels somewhat transactional. I don't know.
Although he could just be thinking like she's really into it, so I'm going to double down on it. You know, everyone in dating is just trying to like do their best a lot of times. And
Exactly.
sometimes it does
Yeah.
come off weird. And I think it's because there's all these like unwritten scripts of like how you're supposed to date and act and all of that kind of just makes people not authentic. He would have probably done way better with someone that like wasn't a like fashionista.
I just think his outfit is a fashion statement. Like, have you seen how Justin Bieber dresses? If someone dressed like Justin Bieber out in public at a nice restaurant, you'd probably be like, that man looks homeless. But it's a statement.
But Justin Bieber has earned that right. He's earned that right. If this guy is a Grammy-winning musical artist from the time he was 16, world known, you can show like who can wear sneakers to work just because like Steve Jobs did doesn't mean like everyone can wear sneakers to work.
So we need to know who this guy is.
Yeah, maybe he's Justin Bieber.
If it's Justin Bieber, I would be like, okay, fine. This is your style.
Listen, this was great. Julie and Yue, thank you guys so much for coming on the U Up podcast. We want everyone, go buy their book. I loved hearing about the wedding and the relationships and the drama and the cheating and the everything. So go listen to Dateable and also go buy the book, How to Be Dateable. It's out right now. And Jordana, we solved dating again. That's it for us.
We did it. We'll be back next week.
Boom.